Hey, everybody. Welcome to ProBROknow, the podcast. Three brothers, three opinions, and one topic.
Correct.
How you guys doing today?
I'm awesome.
Very good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Having a good day.
I'm doing well. It's a hot one today, though. Pretty sticky.
Still hot like the last one we did.
Pretty much. It's always hot during the podcast.
Thank God we're in the basement.
We make it
It's the
that way.
pressure. It's the pressure of it
The
all.
pressure.
So it's your topic this week.
It is
this
my
week,
topic.
Wayne.
So my topic is going to be, thank you for the drum roll. Could you survive being a contestant on the TV show Alone?
Wow, that's interesting because actually my wife just brought that one to me. She told me to write it down. She said you should ask.
I know she did. I stole it from her.
Oh, Jesus. I was going to use that next
I was
week.
hoping you were going to use it today.
No. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So
That's the topic.
let's get right into it.
All right.
All right.
So I want you guys. You can't just say you can't just say yes or no. I could do it or I couldn't do it. You got to
Okay.
kind of
I could do it.
really kind of.
I could do it,
No, you guys are so full of it. I want you guys just to think about what it all entails and whether you could do it. So I can clearly say that I would struggle being a contestant on the show Alone
Yeah, for sure.
for many reasons.
How are you going to fish?
Well, yeah.
Well, no, I mean fishing would be the easy part, but I'm not a hunter. I'm not a hunter. I think I've killed a bird once, and I felt so guilty afterwards.
You're going to be starving out there.
I would be. Well,
Yeah.
like I have a tremendous amount of respect for people that can do that show, but I just think if I had to kill a squirrel and then skin it and then eat it, I'm not sure I could do that.
I think by the time you were done skinning it, there'd be no meat left. You'd be carving all that.
Well, no.
I've seen the way you fillet a fish weight. There's like, there's no meat left on
I
the
know.
fillet.
A 20-pound salmon becomes an 8-ounce fillet.
8-ounce sirloin.
I know. 8 ounces. You're being generous at 8 ounces. No, I know. But well, okay. So could you skin a squirrel and eat it?
So yes, I think I could skin a squirrel and eat it. Would I want to? No, but I would if I was out there and I had to. I think. Wow. I mean, I wouldn't. I think I could do it. I don't think I would want to do it. I think there's two different things. Because I could fish. I could hunt if I had to. Again, not a hunter, but I think I could. In a survival situation.
Let's talk about that. I agree that between the three of us, I would probably give you the best shot at it if I had to guess.
Thank you. Thank you.
Is that accurate, Spence? You think?
Yeah.
No shot against you, but I just think
Spence
out of the
would
three
pay
of us,
somebody to bring them dinner.
he'd order Uber Eats.
It'd be like a chopper landing.
Chopper coming in.
Yeah. Can I get a Big Mac? Just have it delivered here. No,
Exactly.
but I think out of the three of us, you're probably, because of your fishing prowess, you'd probably do really well in that regard.
Maybe.
And you say you're not a hunter, but you could. Do you have any knowledge of how to build a snare, a trap, anything like that?
I've never built a snare. I've never built a trap. I've never lit a fire with 2 sticks. So, but I'm assuming you get flames.
They get flint. They
Okay.
get flint.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if I could make a fire and I was allowed to bring, rope and a knife and some,
You're allowed to bring like 11 items or something. There's a
is that
certain
right?
number of
Okay.
items you can
I've
bring.
not actually watched the show. I mean, I know what it is, but I haven't watched the show.
Really?
No.
Oh, you'd love it. You should watch it.
Yeah.
It's so good. Do you watch it, Spence?
Yeah, I have watched it.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like Chad. I think if I had to, I would figure out how to make a snare. But do I want to eat squirrel or a mouse? Not particularly.
I'd rather do the squirrel than the mouse, I have to be honest, or like a rat.
know,
I've seen,
but if
what I think it was like Survivor or something. They were having to cook up rats and they were eating them, and I thought, I don't really
If
want
I had to, if I had to skin a mouse, there would be no meat on it. Let's be honest.
Honestly, there's no point.
I'd be like on the little
no point
bone.
skinning it. We just put it right on a toothpick.
Tiny
and
little
go.
bone.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think you just put a stick through it and kind of rotisserie it.
rotisserie.
Yeah.
Well, no,
Something.
they always take the guts out of it, they, for sure. So you said you could make a snare if you had to. Do you have any idea of even how to do that?
No, but obviously I would Google Like that's
Well,
not
there's-
before I
well,
went
yeah,
on the
I see.
show.
Yeah, and I would obviously
Yeah.
research how to skin a squirrel too.
Yeah, all that stuff. Like again, I don't think
It's a necessity.
I'm not saying I know how to do all these life skills now because I'm not in that environment where I need to know how to do that stuff.
But you would try to learn it before you went.
You'd have to, otherwise you're not making it too far in the show. But yeah, I'm weird. Like I like you guys, I'm not a hunter. I don't want to kill an animal. Even I have friends that they slaughter their cows or pigs, and will like get their meat that way. Right? That's not me. I want to go to the store and see it packaged.
Yeah, you don't want to know where it came from.
I don't want to know how it was
Yeah.
slaughtered and all that kind of stuff. I don't.
Yeah,
I
I think
have
there's a big difference because there's lots of people that will, for example, go fishing, but they don't want to see you clean the fish or whatever. They'll eat it, but they don't want to see the rest of it. And
for sure.
similarly, like I enjoy steak. Would I kill a cow in my backyard and carve a chunk off the side to eat a steak?
Well, it's like killing a
that-
chicken,
that
cutting
would
the
be
head
tough.
off a chicken. You're like, oh God, I want to have
Well,
to do
even
that.
chicken eggs. I know it doesn't make any sense because I have lots of farm fresh eggs and they're delicious. Mm-hmm. But when I see someone just going out to the chicken coop and coming back with eggs,
It gives you
and
the
then-
heebies.
and they leave them on the counter in the little
Yep.
metal thing.
Yep.
I don't know. I just like it in the little container that I open up.
Just
and
refrigerated.
Somehow I think
Yeah,
it's
pasteurized.
That,
Yeah.
That's interesting because I feel the same way about like if you were at a farm and they said, "Oh, do you want to try some fresh milk?" and they just milk the cow. I know I'm drinking a lot of milk now. I do not. That just freaks me out a little bit.
Yeah, it gives you the heebies a little bit.
Hope I don't have to milk my own milk if I'm out there on the
milk your own
own
milk.
So
Talking about
I'm
something
milking
else.
you're milking the teeth of
everyone's
some kind
gonna
of animal out there.
everyone's gonna tune into that one.
Yeah.
Chad milking the milk.
milking the milk. Yeah.
So even if you researched how to do all that stuff, could you survive? Like, how many days would you give yourself to be out there?
How long are they out there for alone?
As long as you can go.
Sometimes,
really?
sometimes 3 months.
What?
90 days was the longest one I think I saw. And right now they're in Antarctica. Like it's
So in the winter.
they start
Wow.
kind of late
In the
fall,
fall, yeah.
and then they have to. Their first course of business is to start building a permanent shelter. They build a temporary shelter,
Something that's insulated.
then they build a permanent winter shelter because they got to get through the winter.
Wow.
So they're doing that. Then they have to catch food or hunt food, and then if they get more than they need, they have to try to find a way to store it so the other animals don't get to it.
You're probably burying it underground, I'm guessing, like to keep it cool or something, or not.
They
For
smoke it, I
fish, they smoke it.
Yeah.
Okay.
They try to smoke it, but they still have animals get at it. And plus, you're trying not to have bears come to your site. Well, you've got food on your site. The bears are coming.
Yeah, that's another level.
Yeah,
It is another level for sure.
Yeah. Well, so let's talk about that. The wildlife, like you've got bears hunting you. You've got coyote and wolves hunting you.
Well,
Yeah.
when I said I could do it, that was before the bears and wolves were hunting me down while I was out there. I think that
But
would
you're
be
in the
the
middle of the wilderness.
yeah.
Yeah, I
They're
guess.
literally in Antarctica in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
They have to set up. They get randomly dropped off, I think, and then they have to find a place to set up camp, and then they just
make a camp and
and they just go from there. Like you're literally alone. There's not even a cast and a crew around you, Chad. You have your own cameras.
Wow.
So unlike Survivor, where there's
Right.
all we see is those people, but there's obviously a camera crew around them.
Yep.
These guys have to film their own stuff. That's part of the show. So there is no crew. Like they are completely alone in their little portion.
Random
of,
question, but how many camcorder batteries do you have to give a guy that's out in the middle of the wilderness on his own for 90 days?
Right.
what they do is they come in and they pick up the tapes.
They do?
Yep. And then they send you fresh batteries.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, like every so many days, whatever. They'll do a swap out of.
So that's the only human interaction you get the whole time.
I don't know if they have that. I think they've got to place that somewhere, and then like the boat comes or the helicopter comes and grabs it and just drops a package off.
The only communication they have is a sat phone, and they use that if they want to tap out. They'll call to say, "I'm tapping out, I'm done," and then they'll come and they'll pick them up. But other than that, you're alone.
With everything you've brought up, I don't think I could do it for 90 days or 60 days. If it was the winter time, for sure. Mm-hmm.
I hate being cold.
Yeah, exactly. I could make do probably in the summer time. just hunting, fishing, whatever, I could probably make it happen. But in the winter, I don't think I would do that.
Well, this is why I think you'd be the one out of the three of us that would survive the longest, because you've built shelters before. You are a contractor, so you have skill and knowledge around building things. But I know you, even as a teenager, you built a fort,
Yes.
so you know how to do that.
Yeah, I could make like some kind of accommodation for myself to feel like I was protected from the elements. Sure.
Yeah, and some of these people make some really good
Yeah.
structures, like
It's like a log cabin.
a log cabin. Yeah,
Really?
insulated. They build fire pits inside, but they put chimneys in it so they can have a fire to stay warm.
Well, I think you would have to do that.
Well, you have to have a fire,
and you'd have to have a chimney because you would be sucking on all the carbon monoxide and.
Well, they still are. Even though they have a chimney, they're still inhaling all the smoke. But yeah, like they're there in over 60 days in the winter, and it's minus 40.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
I think the hardest part of that show is that you have no idea how long you've got to do it for.
Right.
It's not like you say, hey, you got the first one, we're going to go for 2 months or 3 months. It's that you've got all these other people that are doing it with you, and it's the last person standing wins. So you might be like thinking, I don't know if I can do this anymore. And
But you're wondering if anybody else is tapping out.
but you don't know, right?
you
So
don't
someone
know.
else could be just like
So
you.
they don't tell you like that somebody else has left the game or anything.
You just
Nope.
know.
You just keep going.
At the very end, someone walks up to your camp and says, "Congratulations, you're the last one."
Wow.
And so
yeah.
I think just that mental
It's true.
of not knowing, like, can they go longer, and knowing that maybe just 2 days longer would be enough for you to win. But
Because that might help you win if you knew, right?
of course, and I'm gonna.
Yeah, we all
There's
can-
only 2 people left. I'm gonna.
Yeah, we can
stick
all
it out.
stretch out our whatever it is we're doing. If somebody said just another hour, just another day,
Right.
I think the one not this season, but last season, I think it was northern Saskatchewan. I think is where they were. But one of the contestants is actually from Muskoka area, and he actually built my friend's bunkie for his cottage.
Oh, no
So
way.
yeah, so they actually know him, and he's a hardcore outdoors guy. He was down to the last 2, but he had no idea. And both of the guys were like, they were so done. They're like, I can't do this any longer. Like I'm not sure how much I keep going. And I can't remember this guy's name from Muskoka, but he actually dropped out because he had no idea where he was in the status.
That would be the
So
real. That's a total mind.
Yeah, we thought he was going to win.
Yeah.
He was doing so well, but he just got very lonely, and he was like, I gotta leave, and he left, and then the next guy was going to leave too, and then he found out he won. Like had he waited like 2 more days, he would have won, and you win $1 million.
I think loneliness is a very real factor of how I would last.
It is.
I could find something to eat and I could make a shelter, but I would be really lonely, just
Yeah,
buried
no
out there.
companionship for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, the isolation would be really hard. Like some of these guys, they'll talk about that I can't. I'm missing my family. I feel like I'm going a little bit stir crazy. I got to get out of here. So yeah, I think the being alone. I mean, it is called alone, but the isolation would be incredibly difficult. And I'm not enough I don't have the knowledge to be an outdoor person to be able to hunt and fish and make traps and snares. And I mean, I could probably build a shelter. It wouldn't be really good. It might fall down, but I think I would love to do the show. Like part of me really wishes I could. I think it'd be life-changing to do it.
Yeah. It would be a huge character builder.
Oh,
I would think, right?
yeah.
And just if you could do that, like the personal growth that you would get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just the introspection of being alone and I think it'd be amazing.
Yeah, I think it's less for me about can I build it or can I hunt. I think being able to be alone in your thoughts and just like as you said, the other person felt like therapy. I think that would be kind of the coolest part, right? Is that you're able to just be alone with your thoughts, right?
Yeah.
And I think there was it's not a show, but there was somewhere you could go, and it was like light therapy or something, where they basically put you in the dark for like 30 days.
Wow.
You like complete darkness. And I think you're cut off. You don't have any like complete isolation, but the other part is it's pitch dark where you are. And then when people emerge after the 30 days and they see light for the first time, I think every single person who comes out of there, they're like, you look at them and they're just kind of like,
The glowing.
The reborn.
Yeah, it's like they're like in wonder, and then they start like sobbing and crying because they're like like they can't believe how beautiful and how vivid the colors are because you've been so.
I could see that.
This isn't a show, but you just heard this happens.
Yeah, there was. I don't know where I saw it, but there was someone who was doing this. I forget. I can't remember what it was even called, but it's basically you're being shut off from all aspects of light.
Yeah, it's called The Hole in Prison.
No, no, but it's a purposeful where you
Really?
go and are
Wow.
you're completely cut off.
Well, I mean, that's really the same philosophy as those places like we talked about in that last podcast, Wade, about where you have to be just quiet for a week or 10 days,
Oh yeah,
right? And you can't talk and communicate, so you just have to
a wellness
let your-
retreat where
let your
we're
brain,
silent. Yeah.
go to work and keep you busy.
Yeah. Yeah,
Similar idea.
same premise for sure. I'm with you, Spence. I think it'd be a very soul fulfilling experience to be able to be alone like that for that long and just to know that the only person you can rely on is you. Like nothing is going to happen unless you do it.
Yeah.
And so you're dealing with tremendous adversity where you realize.
Sorry.
What? What's so funny?
Chad's back to what he's doing in the dark.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Carry on. Soul searching.
And I think it's just that you're in nature, and
Yeah.
I think just that whole, I think it's very grounding to be in nature and like by a fire.
What?
Why?
I made one stupid joke a while
I know.
ago.
Now it's in your head. Now you're being a little schoolboy.
Yeah, I know. Just a little school. I think, so a little bit off topic, but I think I could probably more easily do, that show Naked and Afraid?
Oh, as if.
No way.
I could do that before.
I would be
before I
afraid
could
if you
do
were
it.
naked.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm not saying. I think honestly, it's like anything. People, it would wear off. We talked about that
Oh, for
before.
sure. Nobody would care. Yeah.
The first hour would be like you're covering yourself. After that, it's like whatever. But I think the reason that would be easier is because you have somebody there to talk to share the experience with, to help you find wood, to build a fire, to attack a wild animal, whatever it is that you need to do to survive. I think that camaraderie of a second person,
for sure.
I think would make it doable for me I could do that easier than I could do alone.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But I think it's a whole different
It's very different.
experience.
Well, it is, but you're still. I mean, in that show, I think you're still essentially alone. They're not giving you food or anything.
I know, but it's way
on your own.
different. No, way different.
Well, I think you're still being challenged mentally and physically, which
Sure.
is always, I think for me, that's always been a draw. Like, how can I challenge myself in those ways? But yeah, the difference is you have somebody with you. Like that's a huge difference.
Yes.
Because you can rely on someone to help you. When you're completely alone and you,
Yeah, you're in your shelter and you hear like, something
Scary.
some animal coming and it's pitch dark. It's 3 a.m.
Yeah, no thanks.
I don't know, man. That's a little scary.
well, you're being hunted. Like
Yeah.
you are being hunted. This season, the one episode I saw, the guy actually was walking through the bush trying to find food, and he had a bow and arrow, had a bunch of arrows in his quiver. It's called a quiver, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And somehow one of the arrows fell out of the quiver, but as it fell, as he took a step, and the arrow went right into his thigh.
Ooh.
Now you're by yourself, and now you have a massive injury. Like that's the kind of stuff that would play havoc on you, because we've all hurt ourselves at home, and you're
Yep.
like, oh my God, like I think I'm gonna have to go to the hospital, and you're kind of panicky because oh my God, it's a really bad cut.
Yep.
But you're close to a hospital. You're in the middle of nowhere, and now you have this 3-inch gash in your leg, and you realize
You have to do your own stitches.
I've got to do my own stitches. Like he pulled it out. He pulled the arrow on film.
Wow.
Like, oh.
Yeah.
Just even the infection, because you're not.
Well, that's just it. He had to tap out. He's like, I got to go home because you're going to get infected and you're going to, it's not worth your life.
I would not want to have a big gash and stitch myself up out in the woods, in the dark potentially.
Well,
That'd be tough.
So think about that. So you're an avid fisherman.
Sure.
And you've had days where you've gone out fishing and you've been skunked and you don't really catch anything, and it's frustrating. But imagine when you're fishing
When you're counting on it.
And
for
you're
life,
starving.
Yeah.
for life, because it's day 3. You've had berries for 3 days.
Yep.
And you're like, I need protein, or I'm going to be having to tap out. And you get a fish on your line, and it gets off, because that happens all the time. And they're like, oh my! And these people just
They
go
lose
down to
it.
their knees and they're weeping because
I could see that.
oh, for sure, for sure.
Or you catch a fish and you almost have it into shore,
Yep.
and then it like cuts the line, and you just like,
Yeah.
that was like food for 3 days.
And they're catching like this one because they're where they are. They're catching tons of pike, and those, as you know, they have sharp teeth, so they're lucky to get them in. But a lot of them make gill nets, and they just set them up, and I'm pretty impressed. Like I'm in awe of what these guys can do and these women can do. I just don't think I could do it.
Is there as many women as men going out there to do it?
Yeah,
probably more.
Seems to be.
I think there's more men though.
Yeah, but I've seen
I've seen a fair share of women doing it too.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's very impressive. It's admirable.
Yeah, I think I mean, like I said, I would not want to do it if I got dropped off somewhere. If this was, war times or whatever, I was just hiding out somewhere. I had to look after myself. I think I could get there. It would be very, very trying. I would certainly not want to do it. I would never volunteer to do it. There's definitely things I would struggle with, but I think the biggest thing would be probably the emotional content of having a person to, help alleviate my concerns, or, being scared, like you said, in the dark, and you can hear a lion outside or a bear or, whatever.
A lion.
Well, no, but I mean, I don't know where
The giraffes are walking by.
Serengeti or something?
No, but I mean,
Chad's in Madagascar.
I'm guessing that the show is aired in a variety of places. So
It is, but a lot of it
Nowhere
is.
with lions.
A lot of it
Well,
is
I don't
more
know.
like northern. It's
Well,
Saskatchewan,
listen,
is
you
Manitoba.
think a lion is any less scary when it's or a bear is any less scary growling outside of your tent? A grizzly compared to a lion?
for sure.
I think I would.
You'd rather have a grizzly?
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
Then a lion?
That thing, the grizzly would just take one swipe and take your head
Well,
off.
same with the lion. You're done.
So
I don't know why the lion scares me more than a grizzly.
I wonder if they've ever done an alone Serengeti.
No, I don't think. I think that would be.
You'd be dead.
Would you do it? I would. There's no way I would do that.
You're dead.
do what?
Alone in like the Serengeti. Like
I don't know where that is.
like you're-
Africa?
Africa. Like you're doing an
safari,
African
but you're-
safari.
No.
No, you're dead.
No, I know when as Julia and James went not that long ago, and her family goes all the time, but they stay in these outdoor. I don't know what you call it. It's like a hotel kind of thing where, they've got some. I'll call it thistle patch. I don't know what it's called, but it's like a big ring of like stuff all the way around to kind of protect the camp. But you're in there, and there's really not much more than tent walls. And you can hear,
that would make me
You
nervous.
can hear all the animals on the outside growling and skulking around, and then
Yeah,
Yeah, but is there people though around like with guns ready to shoot?
for sure. Yeah.
probably.
Yeah, like I know Sue and I have talked about wanting to do an African safari and staying in the treetop thing,
Yeah.
and it'd be so amazing. But yeah, I'd be nervous about sleeping with one eye open.
There's a lot of animals out there that can climb a tree.
Yeah,
Or snakes can
Yeah,
go up a tree.
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
That would be your dilemma, right?
I'm not really afraid of snakes, but I'm sure I would be in the Serengeti if there was a big snake.
Yeah. Well, they actually have it in alone. They have it in alone, Australia. Well, as you know, there's a lot of things in Australia
Yeah,
that can kill you.
yeah.
And those people do. Yeah. They do that show. So I think the part that would probably be hard for you, Spence, is people in that show that they might eat some berries they thought were safe and they weren't, or they eat only berries or whatever, and then they get sick. So now you're throwing up in the middle of nowhere. You're by yourself, and now you're dehydrated.
Yeah.
Like it just must be.
That
That's got to be awful.
that would be the worst. You're struggling to get something to eat, and you finally get it, and you realize it was poison or it made you sick as a dog,
Yep.
and then you're just losing whatever little bit of nutrition left that you had. Ugh.
Well, I think that's the thing. As you get weaker because you don't have sustenance,
Yep.
and then as those days, like I know how I feel when I like skip lunch.
It
I'm
starts
like,
screwing.
Right.
Talk about getting hangry.
yeah, and,
right.
you get hangry, right?
Yeah.
But then, as you know, you're not as sharp when you're
right.
when you haven't eaten, and so I think that added into the fact that now you're not catching fish, you're hungry,
Yeah.
you're tired, you're malnourished, and then you're not thinking clearly.
That's when you're kneeling down in the dirt, like crying to yourself, thinking,
Yeah.
"How do I get out of this?"
Yeah.
Well,
and I
not-
think you've
yeah.
seen some of that on the show where people physically are having like a mental breakdown where they're just
Yep.
they don't think they can go on, and then some of them snap back and they're like, and it's kind of cool to watch them sort of go through that that moment. Other ones that breaks them, and then they're tapping
Yeah, they're
out.
like, I'm done. I can't do this.
Yeah.
So add to that, you still need energy to do things like hunt and build a shelter, but you haven't eaten in 3 days. So you have no energy. And then you know that if I expend energy to build a shelter, I'm going to be even weaker. But if I don't build a shelter, I'm not going to live. Like it's
Yeah, that's a mind.
yeah,
You got to make some tough choices. Like, what do you do? What do you spend your time doing? Fishing,
yeah,
hunting.
yep. But
Building
I can
shelter.
imagine it really makes you appreciate how fortunate we are to have what we have, the conveniences we have that we take for granted. Once you're out there, you realize, and everything I'm going to get is because I've done something to get it. Other than that, I'm not getting it.
Well, that's the reward of doing it, though, right? For
sure.
those that can manage, is that the accomplishment, that self mastery, accomplishing those skills.
Self-reliance.
Yeah, self-reliance.
Yeah.
Realizing that you can do it, that you can physically, you have the mental capability. And I think it's probably more mental. I mean, you can be physical, but I think you probably need mental strength more than anything.
For sure. The mental acuity, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
It would be incredibly rewarding to go through it and to successfully go through it. I guess even if you had to quit after 10 days, to say that you lasted 10 days
Yeah, you would have still got something out of those 10 days.
in Antarctica, it'd be amazing.
Sure. Yeah. That's an interesting.
So I think we've all agreed that we probably
well,
couldn't do it unless we really were. Well, obviously we were forced to. We would have to do what we had to do.
yeah. I would certainly not volunteer for the show, even if they said we'll give you. Well, I don't know if they said $1 million, I might try it.
Well, that's what they get.
But is that what it is?
They win $1 million. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, but you're not getting anything if you try it and you fail.
If you're number 2, you get nothing.
Right. Nothing. Not even a second prize.
Is that the way it is?
There
I
must
think
be.
so.
There must be a second
No,
prize.
I don't think you get anything.
No, I think it's nothing. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I'm gonna tap out now and say I'd rather not do that
Yeah.
if I don't have to.
Think about it. If you have to go 3 months in order to potentially win,
Wow.
that's a
in
long time.
in the winter.
Yeah.
But that's a long time
Yeah.
of having to
90
sustain
days.
yourself
no
every day.
no way.
Yeah.
Like when we get, I mean, look at us. We just went up and had a snack and open the fridge or whatever. It's right there. But you have to go hunt your snack.
I'm just thinking to go tobogganing with the kids for an hour, and I want to go back in the car and warm up.
You're like, I'm not walking back up the hill.
That's right.
Oh, imagine the freezing. Oh, yeah. Like all three of us hate being cold. Like when your fingers get that cold or your toes. Well, imagine it's minus 40. You can't even go someplace to warm up. Like you go to your shelter that has a fire, but it's not like it's super warm in there.
You know what? I would bet you it actually could get pretty warm in there if you've insulated and stuff like that. I mean, you're in a small space.
Minus 40 though? You can't make it airtight.
Okay, but then you got to go fish. So now you go out, you're
right.
standing by the water,
Well, there is
and
that.
the wind is like, you're getting frozen.
Yep.
Maybe you slip and
gotta
you
take
go in the water.
Yep.
If you saw some people in the previous shows where they actually were
Fell
doing
in.
their gill net and then they
It gets
slipped.
caught or something.
Well, they slipped on the rock and then they got soaked.
Yeah.
And
Then you got to dry yourself out.
right. So now you got to take all your stuff off in like minus 40-degree weather, trying to like warm up and get back to the shelter. It's
You said, Wade, that it's like wintertime. Is the lake or the water frozen? Or are they having to break through the ice to try to get a
when
meal?
it's
or-
winter, they have to go ice fishing. Yeah. So when they start, there's no ice on the water. But as they progress, they're now chipping
slowly.
through the ice to fish.
Wow.
So now you're walking on ice that you're
Hoping
hoping
you
not going to
don't.
fall through,
Yeah.
and you're trying to fish. Like it's
Wow.
crazy.
it's hardcore for sure.
It's very impressive.
It is impressive.
Nothing but admiration for those people that can do that for sure.
But here's what's funny is that there's a lot of, contestants that I've seen on that show that are actual like homesteaders that are sort of living off the grid already. That
Oh, they
have,
are, yeah.
You know,
You would need to be, I think,
Yeah.
to.
right. But even those people, like that's how they live, go there and they struggle,
Yeah.
which tells me someone like me is not making it.
Spence is like, I got no cell service.
There's
out
no-
there."
yeah,
Well, Spence is like, can I drive my Tesla there? Like,
How come there's nothing on Netflix?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Where's Uber when you need it?
Yeah.
yeah, no cell phone, no, like nothing. You are off the grid. No interaction.
Well, I think it's safe to say, to answer your question, there is no way in hell that I would probably do it unless I was absolutely forced.
Yes,
Yeah.
but as I said, my money's on you. If three of us have to do
I
it for some
appreciate
reason,
that.
my
Yes.
money's on you.
Oh,
I want to join your camp.
thank you. Appreciate that, Wade.
I don't want to join your camp.
No, you don't want to because I'm dead.
Spence's money would be on me as well because he'd be paying me to make a fire and to catch fish. and-
Yeah. No, I think you obviously would be the better
He like bring
survivor.
his Amex out there. Is there anybody out here that can go fishing for me? Or
No.
Paying the bear off.
that's right.
What's it going to take for you not to eat me?
That's it.
I built some shelters when I was younger, like in forts
in
and
the
stuff.
woods?
Yeah.
Yeah, we could make a little lean-to. Like that would be okay, but to build a full-on
The hunting thing would be hard for me.
yeah.
Yeah. Did you see that one episode where I think it was a lady, she had a snare on a tree and she trapped a squirrel or a chipmunk,
Okay.
and it obviously killed the chipmunk, but then like the mother chipmunk came down and you could see the pain on the chipmunk. It came
What?
down and was there like putting its, paws or whatever on the other one, like almost like trying to like wait,
Like resuscitation?
like trying to like shake it, and then it was like, no, but it was actually like squealing and making a sound.
Oh, I think I did
and
see
like
that.
hitting it, trying to
Yeah.
like,
Really? Oh, geez.
and then like it was actually an incredible moment. Like, oh my god, this poor chipmunk is like, you just lost its mate or its son,
And I'm
or
going to
daughter.
eat it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know.
That's tough.
Anyway, fellas.
Survival of the fittest.
Yeah, let's not ever do it, but if we ever have to, as I said, I'm in Chad's camp.
Well, thank you for asking the question, Wade. That was an interesting topic.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
We'll see you next time on ProBROknow.
Cheers.
Adios.